Let's talk about same-sex relationships in medieval times. Before I get started, I want to have two caveats. One, I am a straight white woman who does not represent the LGBTQ plus community. These are things that I learned when I was researching one of my characters in my books who is gay. And the second thing is that this is going to be largely taken in the context of male same-sex relationships, and that is because there is just far less documentation of female same-sex relationships that are out there. So a couple of interesting things to know. One, the church was not as hard on same-sex relationships as people might think. So you could definitely be penalized if you were caught. You might be put in the stocks, you might be put in jail. You would not be dragged off and immediately executed if you were discovered in a same-sex relationship with someone. That could happen if you were caught over and over again, but the church was actually more strict on paper than it was in practice. Another thing that's interesting about it is that it was not considered an identity back then. What I mean by this is that if you were a man in the same-sex relationship with another man, you would probably marry a woman, have children with her, and maybe continue in your other same-sex relationships. You would not call yourself a gay man or a straight man. That concept of identity did not exist. It's interesting to note that during the Crusades, the Christian Crusaders would use the idea of Saracens, which were the Muslim army, as what they would call sodomizers. And this was something that they used to other that community and to turn people against the cause that the Muslims were fighting for. And then the Muslims would sort of turn around and throw that insult back over the fence at the Christians. One other thing that's interesting to note is that the Muslim and Jewish communities at the time, while they didn't condone same-sex relationships and they would punish it, they also never developed the kind of moral panic that you see, especially further on toward the 15th and 16th centuries in the Christian church. So that's just a little bit of interesting knowledge. There is a fantastic book that I would recommend if you want to learn more. It's this one. This is one that I used as a research resource, and I hope you learned something new today.